My income with YouTube and all that I was doing had surpassed my corporate income.
Job.
You're making 2 incomes. And I'm thinking, yes, but
yeah, I'm going crazy.
Yeah. So that was, you got to let that go. I mean, you can only do so much. It became not so much that I was stressed out by YouTube because I loved doing it.
Yeah.
I didn't mind sitting there doing links and editing my thumbnails and coming up with ideas at night while I was watching TV. I didn't mind. And on the weekend.
Yeah.
It was
because it's a labor of love. You enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like work.
Right.
So why don't we get started with you sharing what inspired you to get onto YouTube when you did a few years ago?
Yeah, perfect. So July of 2016 was the July 31st. So I just hit 4 years. That was the first video I ever uploaded. And there were a few factors that went into it. I feel like I was a little later than a lot of people. And I had a 10-year-old at the time that was watching a lot of beauty videos. She wasn't applying makeup, but she was watching a lot of beauty videos. So I kind of got on and was seeing what she was watching. And I realized there was this whole beauty community out there, and I was digging it because my whole life I had always been a makeup lover. And, I wasn't someone that wore a ton of it or slathered it on my face, but I had a lot. I loved it. I was the one that helped my friends do their makeup for events and things like that. And it was kind of a resource for people. And so my daughter was like, Mom, you should do this. This is right up your alley. People are always asking you how to do things. And, I thought, there's no way I'm going to do this ever. There's just no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a full-time job, and when was I going to have the time? So around that time, a couple of months before I actually started, we had a tragic death in our family. And so it was kind of, this correlation of events. Life is short moments. And if I don't do it, I'll never know. If I fail, I fail. So, what do I have to lose kind of thing. So I took my iPhone, put it on a stack of books in front of a window, and filmed my first video. And I told basically only the people in my household for the first 9 months, because if I failed, I didn't want anyone else to know.
Yeah.
And so that's how it started.
Yeah, I love it. So you knew right away you wanted to do a beauty channel.
Yeah, because I was seeing that there was a gap in my demographic. I was watching all these videos, and I saw a lot of younger beauty channels in their 20s and early 30s. And then I found a few older ones. I found Angie, Angie Hot and Flashy.
Yeah, I had her on the show.
And she's great. And so I saw some that were older, some that were younger, but there was this huge gap in the 40s. And I had I was about to turn 41. And so I thought, I'm just going to see what happens, because this is kind of the age, your late 30s and 40s, when a lot of stuff changes with your skin, and you have to kind of figure out how to do things differently with both your makeup and your skincare. And nobody's perfect at it, but we can all kind of try together.
Yeah.
And so I was really inspired by a lot of the older women. I hate saying the older women, but the more mature women in the beauty space. I wasn't a trained makeup artist, but I always had an eye for it. And so I was looking at some of those channels too, Angie and Emily Noel and other channels like that. And I was thinking, well, if they can do it, maybe I can too. We'll just see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So right from the get-go, you knew who your audience was and what you were going to talk about.
Yep.
That makes it a lot easier when you already know that.
It does. It does. And, there was a little bit of a worry there, if there were going to be enough people out there to watch me.
Yeah.
And I guess that in a way was a little bit of a weight off too, because I went out there with no expectations. I mean, I didn't even know you could make money. I just wanted to help people that were struggling. And I wanted to throw out there things that helped me, products that I enjoyed, things that I liked, and things that I had showed friends of mine that had helped them. And that was my goal, was just to help women and it's still my goal to help women make better buying decisions, whether it's showing them things that don't work or that, things I don't like, as well as things I like, of course, and, help them do things better and make life easier. So,
yeah. So take me back to when you did upload that first video. I mean, you said for the first 9 months, you really only told your immediate household about it. You didn't want to tell anybody. So how was it those first, 9 months or those first few videos?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn. So I did the best I could in the beginning. My thought process immediately, well, it was more of an agreement between my husband and myself, was, I wasn't going to spend what I wouldn't normally spend on beauty products.
Because that can get crazy.
It can. And you hear stories about people going into debt for their channels. And, I knew what I normally spent at Sephora and at Ulta, and that's all I was going to spend. So I was going to use my stash that I already had and what I was already spending. And, if I made money from it, then great. I would put it back into the channel. Maybe I would get a ring light or, whatever. But I wasn't going to overextend myself for this. If it failed, then I was just going to shut it down. Like that was just where my brain went. Yeah. So yeah, I put out videos that, I'm thinking back, and I did a lot of unboxings because I was getting Stitch Fix, which wasn't even really beauty. I think that was the first video I did, actually. Was a Stitch Fix unboxing. And
you were buying that already. That was something you were paying for.
I was buying that, and I did some product comparisons and foundation videos and, things like that I hoped would help people. And yeah, that's just kind of strategically what I did. And I think that was, July. I did get my first YouTube check. I think it was October or November for, $100, because you had to make $100 before, you could get paid by YouTube at that time. And I was like, okay, well, here's a little spending money. I can
buy
some products now.
Yeah. So, okay. So that is the thing. That's a good point that you make about the beauty community, especially, is that a lot of people think, like, if they're getting into YouTube, like, yeah, I've got to buy all this stuff. If I'm not on the PR list already, it is this kind of catch-22 thing where it's like, okay, well, if I'm not on the PR list and I need to buy all this makeup, so then I'm relevant. So how did you combat that at the beginning?
I never really had it in my mind that I was going to be a channel that was all about new releases. I just knew with everything else I had going on in my life, that was not going to be what I could keep up with long term. So I was going to base my channel around what could sustain me long term, which was helping people. And, would I get new releases? Yes. But I would incorporate those into other types of videos for the most part. Monthly favorites, which is still, I mean, everybody does monthly favorites, right? But that's a core video on my channel. I did do a lot of foundation reviews. So if a new foundation came out, I think I started this pretty early on, if I'm recalling correctly. But, if a new foundation came out, I would review that sometimes right away, but I never did first impressions. And I would see a lot of people doing foundation first impressions. And for someone like me that has a very creative yet analytical brain, that never made a lot of sense to me, because you can't see if a foundation works for you just from trying it one day.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, so I always tried it first. And at first, I feel like that served me well. But I guess it was around 2018 that I started feeling like that kind of dropped off. People just wanted immediate information, but that's not in the beginning. But in the beginning, I feel like that was kind of the basis for my channel. People really wanted that thorough foundation review. They wanted, that 3+ day wear, that perspective. And I feel like initially doing things that way really helped my channel. And it was something different that people weren't doing. So, I did that, but that was something I always liked foundations, that was something that was just organic for me to try new foundations, because I just had a skin type that was difficult, with foundations in the climate I'm in. And so it was a natural thing for me to test. concealers, the demographic that I'm in, mid 40s, where they always want to know about foundations and concealers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was something that was of interest for other people too.
So when did you feel like your channel finally actually started to get some traction and take off? Was there a tipping point with a certain video or video going viral?
I feel like it's been a steady growth from the start. And that's one thing that, you know, I have YouTube friends, and there's a few of us that are kind of like that, where, you know, for a while we're like, why don't we have that one viral video? It's just never happened. And it's just kind of been this steady growth. Now, a year ago, I did have a video that finally took off, but even when it took off, it was still kind of this, you know, it took off, then it kind of went stagnant, then it took off again. And that's that eye trick video that, you know, now it's got 1.2 million views. And it's not even a video that I intended to take off. You know, it's not one that
you thought, ooh, this is going to go viral.
Threw it up there. And so, yeah, it was definitely a surprise, and it's not even my best eye video.
Yeah.
So I've tried to, you know, they say if you have a video that's a success, to try and piggyback off of that later to do another similar video.
Yeah.
And I've tried that.
And it didn't work.
It has not taken off the same way. And I've thought, oh, this one's so much better. I wish someone would, you know, catch on to this one. But for some reason, that video that's less than 6 minutes long has you know, really taken off.
And so when you first uploaded that video, did it gain traction right away, or did it take some time before it started to grow?
Yeah, it did gain some traction right away. It gained, I want to say that first month, it gained quite a lot of views. I mean, you could see that trajectory take off, and you know, there's just that kind of what's happening here. I think it was that July of last year? I'll probably look here and tell you. July of last year, and then
you uploaded it.
Yeah, and then, do you see that?
No, I have to pull up.
Yeah, I know, I do too. And then I distinctly remember it picked up again in October. Again, and because, and you know, I will say that video, it was uploaded on July 21st.
Okay.
And by July 30th, it had over 158,000 views, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And by, let's see, August 21st, let's just go a month. I mean, it was at 225.
Okay. So it just doubled, like, gangbusters.
Yeah. And so it was around 500,000 by October. And then it took off again in October to November. And by November 14th, it was at 700,000.
Wow. Okay.
And it was just crazy. It's kind of been
you uploaded it what date?
July 21st.
Yeah.
And it's been on just kind of a steady climb since then. So, you know, it wasn't like it just shot to 1 million overnight, you know? It's just, but there's good and bad, I think, to viral videos, because sometimes they can take off and you don't really get the views overall on your channel from those. You know, it's like it's not the right viewers for your channel. You know, I've seen that happen to YouTubers just here and there, and you know, it's so great in the beginning because you get these subscribers and then you get these views, and it's like, oh my God, what's happening? But then your other videos, they don't continue to get those insane views. They just watched you for that one video.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that it did happen slower, because I feel like my overall views have increased after that. You know, it did give me a little bit of a bump after that. So.
And then how many new subscribers did you get from that? What does it say?
Let's see, overall subscribers. 16,000 subscribers from that video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if that's what that ratio is, but
yeah, and I always wonder like how accurate that really is too. I mean, I know it's accurate because the metrics on YouTube are accurate, but sometimes people might come to that video and then maybe go another one and then subscribe or go and look at the homepage and then look at another one, or like they watch it and then because they watched it, and they don't subscribe, YouTube might serve another one later on because the algorithm. So I always say that's probably always on the low end, that subscriber number. But but you'll always find too with the viral video, that's where you get the most. That's how you get your subscribers, is usually when a video takes off and goes viral.
Yes. And I mean, I think about my own behavior with videos. Me too. How many times it takes me to watch one person before I hit subscribe, you know, because we're always like, oh, we want more subscribers. But then I think about how I act, you know, when I watch videos. And sometimes I'll watch somebody 10 times and I'm thinking, I'm not subscribed to this person yet. Why? You know, it's.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that YouTube's pretty good about recognizing that and making sure, like putting that person in front of you again and again until you either subscribe or you don't watch anymore. Right? Yeah. That's that feedback loop of the algorithm. So, okay. So you had that video go viral, and then that was just a year ago though, because you started your channel 4 years ago.
Yeah. And where was I in July of 2016? I was trying to think where I was July of 2019. Was that July of 2019? I was around, that pushed me over 100,000, I think, that video. I think I was right at like 90 something thousand when that video hit, because I was showing in September of last year, I was at 120. So,
but in a lot of ways, it's really good that that video that you did is related to your niche, is related to who your audience is, because the subscribers that did get, it's not like it was something that was completely unrelated and you happened to upload it and then you get all these subscribers that are not interested in your other content.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, exactly. Okay. So now, you know, you've been on YouTube for about 4 years in the beauty space. I mean, the beauty space, it is a competitive space, you know, it's like, it is, there's always room for new people. I believe that, but it definitely is one of the more, for women especially, is one of the more competitive niches. So how do you stay like fresh with your content and coming out with new ideas for your audience?
That's a good question. I feel like I have core, I guess, ideas that I keep in rotation. So, you know, I mean, we said the monthly favorites, but each month I try to do ideas that appeal to my core viewers that could also appeal to other people. So I always try to do, you know, a top foundations video or a top favorites video that is kind of a grouping. So, you know, a top 10 best concealers for mature skin or top bulletproof foundations for oily skin, you know, something, a grouping type of video that can appeal to new people, but that my core people, my core audience likes. So I try to do that kind of thing because I find that they really like, you know, roundup type of videos. So, you know, try to do that. I try to do a skincare or an anti-aging video at least once a month, something related to drugstore. I find that my audience really likes drugstore. You know, I do a blend of both high-end and drugstore, but I do try to do at least one drugstore video a month. I had kind of strayed away from that in, I want to say 2018, and was going a little more high-end. And I tried to bring the drugstore back because there's people on budgets. I feel like keeping that fresh, and you can always keep that fresh because there's always new stuff at the drugstore, and mixing in how-to videos. I think there's a lot of channels that, you know, they're all about new things and hauls and things like that. And I think that's good, but I think there's people that can't buy things all the time. And so keeping some how-to content in there, it doesn't get viewed as much, which is frustrating from a creator standpoint, because, you know, we do want to teach and show people how to do things, but keeping that there for those people who really do appreciate it. The comments on those videos are always really good. So I think it's important to keep that in there. You know, and it is hard. It's hard right now in the beauty space. So I do think, you know, there's a struggle with myself and the YouTubers that I'm friends with of, you know, how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it relevant all the time? And, you know, sometimes, you know, you do look at other people and see what they're doing and see how you can put your own spin on it. I don't get too caught up in the trendy stuff because I feel like it doesn't quite fit what my audience particularly likes. I don't know, some of it, I feel like they think it's silly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The
You have to
trendy
know
type
your
of video.
audience.
You have to know your audience. So I do try to keep it, just, I know what they like now. I know, some of that stuff is just not going to fly. So I stick to what I know. I know what they like, and, just trying to create things around what I feel like I would want to see is what they want to see.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it boils down to just knowing your audience and just continuously understanding them and what they want. And like you said, it sounds like you almost have, I don't want to say like a formula, but you do have like a set of videos that you're always going to do no matter what.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll deviate from that sometimes. I keep a content calendar, and I try to plan 3 months out, just so I'm not sitting there thinking, what am I going to film today? That's just not a good feeling for me. And there's a lot of people that function that way, and they do just fine. That's just not me. And I'll shuffle things around. But, when you add in, sponsorships and things like that, you kind of have to plan so that you don't fall behind. And so, I like to be strategic. I don't like to have 2 skincare videos too close, because I feel like some things can get redundant. I don't want to have, a bunch of hauls together, and I like to space things a certain way. And, I don't, again, it's on that same note, I don't want to have too many sponsorships either around each other. And so I just try to be strategic and planned, but still flexible, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, no, it does. You have to be.
It's kind of like, I don't know who talked about this, but there's, the hub and the hero videos,
hub,
I don't know who came up with that, but I like to have some that are more towards, for my audience, and then some that are more growth type of videos. And I don't know, I think it works pretty well. So.
Yeah, no, you have to have, like you said, a strategy when it comes to your schedule, especially if you're doing this full time, which you are. So so, and let's talk about that too. At what point did you become, because you said you were doing another job when you first launched your channel.
Yeah, I went full time last June. So it's been a little bit over a year. And that was it's funny thinking back. It was kind of a slow process. I remember, 2018, I wish I had kept up with my income from 2017. I have everything on a spreadsheet. I mean, I have a couple of my YouTube friends that completely make fun of me, because it's weird for, to have that creative side and then be so
analytical,
spreadsheet oriented, but I have everything on a spreadsheet, pie charts, the whole deal. But I had my income from 2018 on the spreadsheet. And then when I did my 2019, I was like, okay, I've doubled my income. I mean, I'm on my way to doubling my income, and I'm surpassing my corporate job. I mean, I've been working for someone else since I graduated college. I mean, I've been in, marketing and sales and advertising, and I just always been working for someone else. And I was at a point with this company where I was just not happy. I was ready, and I had told my husband, I don't know, sometime last summer, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but here's where we are. And I had gotten to a place where, and I think this is something that a lot of people don't think about when they get into this whole thing. I see people leave earlier or plan to leave earlier, but there's a whole host of things you really have to think about before you leave your job. If you're the one carrying the health insurance, like I was, and there's the 401k, and there's just life insurance and all kinds of things to think about. So it wasn't that I just had to match my income. I had to go over and above what I was making to feel comfortable, because, we have a family to think about. So it wasn't just a supplementary income. I mean, the two of us were pulling in pretty equal amount into this house. So it was, to a point where I was surpassing what I was making with my corporate job by a good amount. And so I was ready. I was just ready. And while it was nice to have the dual incomes, my stress level was through the roof. It was just time. And some things had happened with the company. And it was probably a week and a half before I talked to my husband. wasn't expecting me to make that leap at that moment, but it just happened. I was like, okay, well, today I told them. So I think he got a little nervous that it actually happened, but I was like, look, I can put more time into this. This is it. And so it was the best decision I've ever made for myself. I mean, it's scary. It's very scary, or at least it was for me. But it's been a great decision. And I feel like I have less free time now than I did when I was working full time and managing this. I don't know how that's possible, but I do.
Yeah. You mentioned something though about wishing that that the income was the same, or you said something earlier about that. Like you're wishing that, is it the same having two jobs, or did your income adjust and change with your YouTube channel?
So my YouTube, like my income with YouTube and all that I was doing had surpassed my corporate income.
Job.
Is that what you're asking?
No, but that's okay. I thought you had said something.
I had said it was nice to have both incomes at the same time, but I had to let that go.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point I had basically dual incomes.
Yeah.
Because at one point, when I started YouTube, it was a hobby. It was fun money. And then one day it was like, oh, this is a side hustle. I mean, I'm making, extra money. This is fun.
Yeah.
And then it became a side job. I mean, I was doing 2 jobs. And it became not so much that I was stressed out by YouTube, because I loved doing it. I didn't mind sitting there doing links and editing my thumbnails and coming up with ideas at night while I was watching TV. I didn't mind. And on the weekend.
Yeah.
It was
because it's a labor of love. You enjoyed it. It didn't feel like work.
Right. And it was the day job that was just, I was just so done at that point, especially once I realized that my YouTube income was starting to grow and grow and grow. And that was what I loved. And so once that started really taking off, and of course, I have my husband saying, well, I mean, you're making 2 incomes. And I'm thinking, yes, but
I'm going crazy.
Yeah. So that was, you got to let that go. I mean, you can only do so much as a sane human being.
Yeah. So what did you change then with your channel once you did go full time with it?
So I was also on the side. I wasn't just doing YouTube. I had also started the social media consulting and that website. So I was able to sink more time into that as well after. So because I wasn't really able to take on any clients or anything like that. And so I was able to actually do more with that. I was able to get more organized. And, I was kind of the mindset of, do I want to up my videos from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5? What do I want to do here now that I'm full time? I don't know why I did air quotes with that, because it is full time. But, how do I want to manage myself? So that was where I kind of was. Or is it just that I'll be able to not do things at night as much and have it be just during the day? So for me, it was more of it was more free time, I guess more balanced time for me, and being able to get more organized with the 2 things that I was managing now, the YouTube and the social media, and I say that, of course, now here I am a year later where I'm still juggling a lot, but it's 2 things that I want to juggle versus, one that I wasn't passionate about at all. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's great. It almost makes the whole process more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're nearing the end of the interview, and at this point, we do I know it goes by fast. We do the hot seat round. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions that I ask everybody on the show, starting with, what is a favorite video that you have recorded and uploaded onto your channel?
Oh my gosh. I have to say, it's kind of a 2-parter for me, because I uploaded this how to apply Estee Lauder Double Wear without being cakey. It was one of my early videos, and I do not love that video because, you're early on, you're very stiff. My intro was very chatty. I have a lot of hate comments about that intro, but that video has, I want to say, like 500,000 views. So I think it's my second most watched video.
Yeah. 500,000 views. Yes.
Yeah.
Second
so
most
I
watched.
thought last year I thought I'm going to do an update of that video because there were a few things I left out. I could shorten the intro, I could make it a little better, and we'll see if this takes off. So the redo of that video has 200 something views. It's better. So if I hadn't done that first video, I wouldn't have done the second video that I feel like is a little bit better quality. And that video has helped so many people genuinely use that foundation that was unusable to them before. So I'm really glad that I did it, and it's helped my channel grow too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, did Estee Lauder ever reach out to you?
They did. I actually worked with them.
Oh, good.
After that video.
Was that? Oh, so that wasn't a sponsored video, but they did reach out after that video.
Yes.
That's great.
They did. I have gotten to work with them as a result of that video.
The first one that you did, the older one?
It was after the second one.
Okay. Yeah, the second one you did. Okay, so I'm looking at it now. The first one was 3 years ago. It's at 500,000 views. And then the second one was a year ago. It's at 290,000 views.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's
290.
great.
Okay, I was thinking it was early 200s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're good.
Any video that you've, say, worked really hard at and loved, but were just disappointed that didn't do that well? I'm really disappointed by the
where do I
results.
start? There's a few dud videos that, yes, I had actually, I was thinking about this before. So I have a friend of mine that, we reference each other a lot. Risa is her name. And we had thought for months about doing this series. I can't even remember what we titled it now. Makeup mishaps, makeup mistakes. And this was viewer based. These were viewer comments that were given to us, both of us, on our channels. And we thought, we could make a series of, fixing your makeup mishaps. We'll do it as a collab kind of thing, whatever. Both of our worst viewed videos ever. And I mean, we had lists going. We had divided things up.
You're like, this is going to be a series. This is going to do so well.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking, one of each of our lowest viewed videos ever. And I mean, I have like a list of videos that I like, because I was trying to think what my worst viewed videos were earlier. And I mean, that really stands out for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from anytime I did a foundation review where, because those started tapering off. And I think people just got burned out on single foundation reviews after a while because so many people started doing them. That's why I kind of started doing them in roundup format. But those are always a little painful too, because you put so much time and energy into that. And it's I'm glad when people, do love them, but it's like, why are more people not watching these now? I don't know. Yeah. So those hurt a little, but both of those stand out.
Yeah. Gotcha. What is the biggest opportunity you got as a result of your YouTube channel?
I mean, it has to be working for myself, being my own boss. I mean, I never would have been able to do this otherwise, ever. So, I mean, I don't think I would have. I just feel like I still would be working a corporate job for someone else. And, I wouldn't have this creative outlet. And this is huge.
So after you did quit your job, did you see, I mean, it sounds like you said, I was actually able to breathe a little bit because you're juggling 2 full-time jobs. Did you see any changes to the channel itself? Did you see maybe it started to grow more, or you were maybe doing things differently and then you saw a change in your channel, or was it just more kind of consistent as it was before?
I feel like I was genuinely able to, probably more with just the consistency for me than anything. I would say that's probably the main thing. I feel like I've just been on a steady growth. I feel like there's still room, to continue to grow. It's just been a year. Yeah. And I almost still feel like I'm still getting everything where it needs to be. Yeah. I just started outsourcing some things. And, nice. I feel like that's kind of a learning curve for me as well as, learning how to let go of some things that I've been doing myself. And, I think for me, that's a huge thing for me, is being consistent. Anyway, I feel like that's been a huge contributing factor to my growth. But I do feel that having that consistency and being able to be organized and totally focused on doing what I'm doing and being able to just brainstorm and not burn out the way I feel like I would have had I kept going at the pace that I was.
You were at, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you feel that there was a different level of pressure because you went from having this dual income to that, your job, and in YouTube surpassed that, but now you just have YouTube. Was there a pressure there that maybe wasn't there before? Because before you weren't fully just relying on your YouTube income.
For sure. Yeah. A couple of us went full time around the same time, Michelle Wong, and we were actually talking at the same time about leaving our jobs. And it was quite interesting because we were kind of in the same boat of, wow, okay, this is real. We've always on our channels been able to say, okay, we work full time and do YouTube. It's kind of this, and some of our audience kind of gave us, I think, a little bit more, credibility for working full time and doing YouTube, I think. And at the same time, when we both kind of, announced it unofficially, that we left, I don't think anybody thought any worse of us for not working full time.
No, I don't. They don't think they care. Yeah.
People realize this is a job. I mean, I spend way more hours doing this than I did working a full-time job, corporate job. So I feel, there's definitely a lot of pressure because no one's making me do this. There's no one that's going to make me get up in the morning and do what I need to do. I have to do it. And if something happens with YouTube, I mean, we just all had this whole deal that started in March, right? And the views and everything were kind of a little strange, when this whole pandemic and everything started. We were all
a lot of people were stressing out.
Yeah. And that's one reason why I think it's really important for anyone getting into this or thinking about it to not have all your eggs in one basket. I mean, if you can diversify affiliate income, and honestly, I mean, YouTube AdSense is not going to pay the bills. I mean, you probably know this too. That's a portion of the income, but it's not the main part. And I think a lot of people spend all this time early on thinking, oh, I need to be monetized. I need to do this. I need to be eligible. And it's not even really that much, of the whole deal. So affiliates, sponsorships, brand deals, having a blog on the side too, that can be monetized and affiliate income, that, is a whole other part of, what I do. I'm trying to actually ramp that up more because I have a blog that does well when I'm active on it. And, I'm trying to keep up with that as well, having client work and all of that combined, it just helps you be a little bit more secure. And so I think for me, just saying the YouTube thing is everything. It's a lot of it. Of course, you have to have it. That's my main thing. But you can't have all your eggs in one basket because I feel like you would definitely sink.
Yeah, YouTube acts as a wonderful driver, of gaining traction and gaining an audience. But you do have to be creative and, like you said, diverse in regards to the income stream if you're really going to make it a full-time thing. So how many subscribers did you have when you quit your job?
I would say I was right under 90,000 subscribers, almost 100.
Okay. Yeah. I always feel like that seems to be kind of that sweet spot, like right around 100. There's something with that where a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, is it time? But what percentage of your income would you say is AdSense versus affiliates versus, say, sponsored or client work? Do you have a breakdown of that?
I do, actually.
The spreadsheet queen.
The spreadsheet queen has the breakdown right here.
I love that.
So my YouTube AdSense is around 20 to 25% of my overall YouTube income. And then affiliate, this is actually interesting because I was looking at 2018 versus like 2019 and 20, because 2018 I was still kind of, creeping on not like I'm, some YouTuber with 1 million subscribers, but I mean, 2018 affiliate was about 55% and sponsorships were about 25. But in 2019 and this year, affiliate is around 35 to 40%. and sponsorships around 40 to 45%. And that's not so much that I've increased my sponsorships that much, but they're more lucrative.
Yeah.
The more
you're making more from, there's not that there's more sponsorship, it's that the amount that you're making is more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They see more value in you, the more. It's not just about the size. I mean, some of it is, but it's the engagement and the reach and the views too, because there's some large channels that don't have high views. It's all encompassing, you know. And then a lot of them, some of these brands I've been working with for a long time, and so it's increased over time too.
That relationship.
It was just interesting.
Yeah, no, it is. Okay, so back to the question. So yes,
it was a really long answer.
Yeah, no, but that's great. What is your superpower that you think has led to your success on YouTube?
I think I'm just relatable, and I don't want to use the word ordinary. I don't think I'm totally ordinary, but I think I just think I represent the every woman, the normal everyday woman that is, in her 40s and trying to figure things out. And I feel like I try to keep my space positive, yet not sugar-coated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything is not pretty all the time, and it shouldn't be. And I just feel like I'm very realistic and relatable. So
I love that. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for being on the show and for just sharing so much insight into your journey on YouTube. For anybody that's new or not familiar with you and your channel, where can they find you?
Yeah, I am Stephanie Marie. Look, I had to write this down because everything's different everywhere. So I'm Stephanie Marie on YouTube. And then my blog is stephaniemarieblogs.com. And Instagram is stephmarie.7. But Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter are Steph B. Marie 7.
All right.
You can't get all those handles everywhere.
I know.
And then the social media stuff, that's thesavvysocial.com.
Awesome. Well, we'll have those links below. And for those of you guys watching this on YouTube, let myself and Stephanie know in the comments what you thought of this interview, what your biggest takeaways were. Are you thinking about quitting your job to do YouTube? Is that a goal for yours? So let us know in the comments. Make sure you like the video for the algorithm, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.